Can we get our first cutting of hay across 27 acres cut and tedded before the weather turns on us, all while putting brand new piece of equipment to work for the very first time? Hi, and welcome back to Whitetail Acres Farm. Hay season is officially here, and there's nothing quite like the feeling of that first cutting. The fields have been growing for months. All of that organic fertilizer we put down, the Fertrell blend, the aragonite, it's all been doing its work. The grass is getting tall and thick, and it's ready. But here's the thing about making hay. You don't just decide to cut and go and do it. You watch the weather like a hawk. You look for a window, ideally 4 days of sun and low humidity, and when the window opens, you move. Because if you cut hay and it gets rained on before you can bale it, you lose quality fast. Or worse, you lose the entire cutting. We rely on this hay to feed our cattle all winter, so losing a cutting is not an option. This week, the window opened and we got to work. In this video, we're taking you through the entire cutting and tedding process across all 27 acres of our hay fields. You'll see the equipment we're running, how we make the decisions in the field, and if the weather holds up for us while we do it. So let's get to it. Before we even hooked up a single piece of equipment, we spent a solid 2 days watching the forecast. The first 3 days of the forecast continued to show sunny and dry, but day 4, when we would need to bale, that kept bouncing between sunny and a chance of rain. We debated hard about only cutting half of our property this week as insurance, but ultimately we decided on cutting it all. Hopefully the weather holds up all week like we're expecting it to. First cutting of hay is all about timing. Cut too early and you get less volume. Cut too late and the grass grows stemmy, loses its nutritional value, and the cattle won't touch it the way you want them to. We were at that perfect point. The grass had headed out but hadn't gone to seed yet, which is exactly where you want it for good quality hay that your animals will actually eat. And here's something we've noticed over the years. When one farm in the area starts cutting hay, within a day or two, everybody is cutting hay. There's this unspoken rhythm to it. One person starts and it reminds everyone else, or maybe it just validates it for them, that yep, it is time. Ryan got the John Deere 7520 fired up to cut and the 5100E ready to ted. With the 7520 hooked onto the disc mower, we headed out into the field for our first cutting. The first field we tackled was one of our larger ones, about 6 acres of mixed grass hay. When you're cutting with a disc mower, speed is your friend, but only up to a point. You want to move fast enough to cover ground efficiently, but not so fast that you're bouncing yourself out of the seat and leaving an uneven cut. Ryan settled into a rhythm, third gear, steady throttle, and the disc mower laid that grass down in clean, even rows. There's something genuinely satisfying about watching a field transform like that. In 20 minutes, a field that was standing tall and waving in the breeze is now lying flat, organized, and beginning its journey to becoming a bale of hay. Now, cutting hay is only one step. What happens after the cut determines whether you end up with good hay or a moldy mess. And that's where the drying process comes in. So here's the thing about hay that surprises a lot of people who haven't done it. Making hay is not just cut it and bale it. There's a whole process in between, and every step has a purpose. Here's the timeline that we follow. Day 1, ideally late afternoon or evening, we cut. Cutting in the evening gives the hay a full night and the following morning of uninterrupted drying before we touch it again. Day 2, this is tedding day. Tedding lifts, fluffs, and spreads the hay, exposing more surface area for sunlight and airflow. This is a step that dramatically speeds up the drying process. Without tedding, the hay on the bottom stays damp while the top dries out, and then you end up with an inconsistent moisture throughout the bale. Day 3, depending on conditions, we either ted again or we rake the hay into windrows. Raking gathers the dried hay into narrow rows that the baler can then pick up very efficiently. Day 4, if everything has gone right, we bale. The hay should be dry enough at this point that it won't mold in the bale and not so dry that all of the leaves shatter when you try to handle it. That's the ideal, but farming is rarely ideal. Sometimes you're cutting in the morning because the weather window is shifting. Sometimes you're tedding twice because the humidity is high. You just have to adapt. For tedding, we're using our 4-basket tedder, a reliable workhorse. If you followed the channel for a while, you know we picked up an 8-basket tedder at an auction earlier this spring, and it's still waiting on some repairs before it's field ready. So for this cutting, it was our 4-basket tedder doing all of the heavy lifting. And it handled just fine. It just takes a little bit more time to use. A 4-basket tedder covers about 15 feet per pass. On 27 acres, that means a lot of time in the tractor seat. You're not setting any speed records, but the job does get done, and it gets it done well. The tines grab the hay, lift it, fluff it, and lay it back down in light, airy layers. You can see the transformation immediately. The damp hay that was packed against the ground is now on top, exposed to the sun. The hay that was already drying on top is mixed back in. That exposure is everything. The more surface area the sun and air can reach, the faster the moisture evaporates and the sooner we can bale. Ryan worked through the field and then field after field, and it took longer than we'd like, but the 4-basket tedder didn't let us down. The hay was flipped, fluffed, and dried exactly how we needed it. Sometimes the best equipment upgrade is the one that you're still waiting on, and the equipment you already have is the one that keeps the farm running. When you step back and look at 27 acres of hayfields, some cut, some tedded, all in various stages of drying, it really puts the work into perspective. Every pass of the tractor, every row of hay, every hour spent watching the weather, making decisions, it all adds up to feed for our cattle through the winter. We don't take that lightly. The hay we make now is what keeps our herd healthy and fed when the fields are frozen and the grass is months away. It's one of those most important things that we do all year, and it's also one of the most satisfying things when it all comes together. All in all, it was a productive and successful few days, getting the first cutting down and tedded across the entire property. The weather held and the hay is drying down exactly how we want it to. Now we watch the forecast and get ready to rake and bale, but that's a video for another day. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more hay season activities along with all of our other farm adventures. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.